Hey everybody. So today for our module discussion, I'm going to talk about discussion topic 1 and discussion topic 3. I'll start with discussion topic 1, which asks about our interview and how that went and some things we liked and some things we change. So I kind of wanted to get a practice run in before I did like a formal interview for the research project that we'll have due at the end of the semester. So for this one, I used my fiance as my research participant. And she recently started in the field of school psychology, but she had a background in biology and science. So she didn't have a traditional path into what she's doing now. And so my research question was, what can the education field do to draw more people into the field of education? And, you're seeing everywhere that schools need people. School psychology specifically has, a huge job shortage. So I just wanted to know what ways could we attract people to the field. And so I wanted to get her insight. I thought that would be a valuable insight. Someone that obviously didn't go into the field right away. And that way I was able to find out some things like, what does she love about the job? What does she not like? What did she expect? What did she not expect? Why wasn't she interested before? And I really got some good information from that. In it, because it was my fiance, it was a little bit different, and she felt weird being interviewed by me. So I guess the rapport building, we already had the rapport. If anything, she just felt weird because we have so much rapport because we know each other so well. Um, what would I like to improve upon next time? After reading it and then transcribing it, I realized I started off every question like the exact same. I would always do some sort of remark like excellent, awesome, interesting, and then and then I would go on with my question. And then after hearing that for 15 minutes, I got a little bit tired of hearing myself talk and kind of have the exact same format the whole time. So I would definitely work to change that and just kind of mix that up. Also, I thought my questions, I've always been this way and I just kind of did it there. I I get ready to ask my question, but then I think of a different way to ask it. So in the middle of asking my question the first time, I switch it and I add a second question in there, and that could be confusing for a guest and or a participant. And so that's something I would like to change about myself. I think maybe sticking more to a script would be a little bit more beneficial when I'm asking those different questions and that kind of thing. So that's kind of the main points I want to talk about with discussion topic 1. Discussion topic 3 asks us to watch those 2 videos and then share our thoughts. What are some things we wrote down? I have my list right here. So right off the bat, in the first bad interview, I just thought there was excessive movement. She was like shaking her head, she was moving her hands constantly, and it was kind of like off-putting almost to watch. So obviously the participant in that interview is probably feeling a little bit uncomfortable with the excessive movement. Um, Going along with that rapport building, when she asked like the demographic questions, like, what's your name? What do you do? Where are you from? That kind of stuff. She was just looking down, just like checking boxes. So obviously that to the person answering that, they don't feel really important. They just feel like they're just providing, just random, information, and they're just kind of checking it off. Some like blatant errors were obviously the cell phone usage, um, the inattentiveness, where she would just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Could you repeat that?" Obviously that's a glaring error. Um, Another one that we read in the books, and they kind of, they obviously told us not to phrase questions like this way. She asked questions that said, "Can you think of?" And the second you start to ask that, people automatically like their memories kind of shut down. They're like put on the spot, and it's hard to think of something. So phrasing questions like that wasn't a great way. And then she said, "Well, surely you can think of something," which obviously puts the person on the spot, makes them feel bad, makes them probably not want to share as much. Um, and then really the bias, when she did share something that she learned and thought was beneficial, she was like, "Great, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you got a lot out of that." Like, so that was putting herself very biased and on the side of the medical practice or whatever that training was. So again, that's going to skew the answers that the person gets from the participant. So those were the kind of the bad things. The great things were she maintained eye contact. She explained about herself before they really got started. She was unbiased, had open questions, and then when she needed to know something a little bit more, she asked follow-up questions and asked for specifics. And instead of saying, "Can you think of?" or "Surely you can think of this," or "Did you learn something?" Well, I guess this kind of goes along with what I just said of follow-ups. She would say, "I heard you say," and so she took the blame for not understanding. So I wrote down on the bad interview, she said, "You're contradicting yourself. I'm confused." On the good interview, she was like, "I'm sorry, could you, kind of repeat? I heard you say this, but I didn't quite understand," and kind of shouldered the blame a little bit. And I think that's a good interview skill. And then she just transitioned very well between topics. And at the end, when it was time for the end of the interview, it wasn't like an abrupt end. She kind of let the participant know, or let them know. And a lot of the same skills that we learned in counseling are great for interview skills and qualitative interview skills.